The old man. Anyway, man, welcome back to That's So Controversial, guys. Today we are short of my main man Graham. Filling in for Graham today, though, is my man Mike
What's
coming in
up?
from the mobile office, huh?
The Batmobile.
Yeah, man. So today we are gonna touch on cancel culture a little bit. So yeah, let me just run that intro one time for y'all real quick. Boom. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to That's So Controversial. Today, I am joined by my main man, Mike. He's filling in for Kyle. Kyle, can I make it today?
I can't fill Kyle's shoes though. I'll let you know.
But Kyle has small feet. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
That's what's up. All right. Hey, what's going on, show? Sorry I'm late today. This time it's me being late. I appreciate you being on time as per usual. So today we are going to be talking about cancel culture. And for those of you who don't know what cancel culture is, put it right up there for you, man. The idea of taking away someone's platform, fame, business, company, job, power, or popularity, or any combination of the above because of something that's seen as unforgivable. How do you feel about that? Wasabi, what's going on, my Eddie? How do you feel about cancel culture? Has anyone you know, any celebrities that you could think of fallen victim to cancel culture? That's for you, Mike.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Uh, Not that I could think of.
How you
Off
feel
the
about
top.
Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp getting canceled because of the label they put on him of womanizer. So now he lost his job working as the character in that movie from Harry Potter series.
Uh, which character did he play in that Harry Potter series? I don't
He
remember.
played the villain. He played the main antagonist, the main villain in the
Oh,
uh
Voldemort or something like that.
no. You're obviously not a fan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should
It's
know
all right.
this because I my kids have me watching the whole series right now.
No, there's a spin-off called Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so he's the main bad guy in that movie, but now he's been removed because he has the label of being womanizer. So, a whole bunch of people said, well, not people, but the company said we can't associate ourselves with someone who has that label. So he got removed from that character role.
I think that's a temporary thing because sometimes,
No, bro.
because put it like think about think about the like for example the Brown situation with Rihanna and the other girl. Everybody hated Chris Brown back then because of him being considered a woman beater. Now all of a sudden everybody's like, they forgot. You know, I think through time people forgive.
I don't know, man. Not today. I think it's stronger today. I think now people are really, really trying to attack people. Are you a fan of the show The Flash?
The Flash, that's the one on Netflix, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, my kid actually wants forces me to see it.
There's a character, or there was a character in that show that his name was Elastic Man or something like that.
Okay.
He was the main character on the show. So what someone did was do a deep dive on his social media, and they found that he was starting to come up. He was saying some really racist comments and stuff. So they brought that to light and got him fired from the show.
Uh, do you think it's right?
In that situation, no, because we supposed to live a perfect life our whole life. When somebody's trying to reach a certain level of celebrity, they're gonna make a lot of mistakes. They're gonna learn. Hey, Mama, how's it going?
Sometimes
So
they do these things for fame too.
attention,
Like, you know,
exactly. That's exactly my point. It's a point of growing as a person, right?
yeah. It's kind
Like I
of
would.
like it's kind of like how in the music industry, they come out with these diss records and all this stuff. They do it just for to get their name out there, and then it's it, it's not really a true thing.
No, but what happens with cancel culture is that let's say you become really, really famous, right? And someone, for whatever reason, decides to look into your history, and they find something that you said that could be considered offensive today. They'll bring that to light and start bringing a lot of attention to that negative aspect of your life. And now that could potentially lose you a lot of business opportunities, your career, and everything. So it's a form of online bullying at the basic level.
Yeah, I think people just always try to find some dirt on you, especially when you're a public figure,
Yeah.
because it sells stories too.
Yeah, motivation says Ray Rice punched his wife in the elevator and got kicked out of the NFL. But in that situation, that was justified. See, I think there's certain levels where it's okay, to use that as a platform to, to remove somebody, because that's definitely a behavior that's not accepted by anybody by any stretch of the imagination. But like we were talking about before, I think that people like comedians, like their job is to push the envelope.
Yes, I think
You
that's
know,
where there's an exception because we all know that comedians get very controversial with when they're preparing their content for the stage and everything.
right?
Uh, that right there, I would say, is kind of like an exception because you already know as a comedian, they tell racist jokes and all that stuff. And people, some people laugh at it and others are like, oh, is he serious?
Yeah. Like my man here, I
Dave
mean,
Chappelle.
this is what ended up happening. This is what ended up happening. A lot of people started like just deleting their accounts. People started disliking certain platforms, social media. Just like Get At Me says, he says, I remember going back to my early Twitter days and erased all my AO jokes due to the new extra sensitive culture. Because now you can't say something and be like, hey yo, you know what that ultimately means, right? You've heard the expression, right?
No, sorry.
If you say something that's less than masculine and someone goes, hey yo,
Okay, I got you.
like that's where that stems from. So it got to a point where something as simple as that, that's said in jest, is going to be taken out of context and can be used against you. So that's where cancel culture comes into play, and I think that's where it becomes dangerous. And what I don't like about cancel culture is that we all go through certain things in our life, and it's a learning experience. To say that you have to be live a perfect life, it's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. Somebody without skeleton in their closet, I can't trust, because I refuse to be that. Besides Jesus, like no one has a perfect life.
No, 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 no. Jesus wasn't perfect either. He got angry. Remember that.
When
In church, when they tried to sell things out right in front of the church, he flipped the table and everything.
did he get
What about
canceled?
he didn't get canceled?
he, he got the ultimate cancel, man. He got
By the way,
canceled big time.
I'm not making any sacrilegious jokes. I'm being serious.
Right. No, I get it. You trying to make an extreme point. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, Johnny Depp is the latest victim to cancel culture, and in that situation, I don't think it's fair because he's still fighting that case. So to put that label on him and to suggest that he is in fact a womanizer, when there's a lot of evidence that's been suggested that the woman was actually the aggressor in the relationship, and yet she's still allowed to work. So you think there's like a form of gender issues when it comes to cancel culture?
Yes, I would say
Yeah,
so.
I think they're a little rougher on the guys, man.
Yeah, especially now more than ever because of all these situations occurring and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
the Me Too movement and all that stuff.
right. I
You
mean, the
know.
Me Too movement, I think, is very, very valid. I mean, I think nobody
Yes,
should
it
be
is.
taken advantage of. But I also
And
think
I
that they
agree.
also can use it as a platform to attack people. Also,
Yeah.
but there are people who
Which
are doing very, very negative things. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I believe I touched on that topic before about that because like with the Jesse Smollett case, like you don't know when somebody's being truthful about what their story is, and they're using like what like the current events in the world in order to like gain some type of attraction on TV and whatnot with false
Right.
claims,
I think we talked
which is
about that
not
in the
fair
same
because you could
conversation.
Yeah, you could seriously hurt somebody's image doing that, and I
But
don't
that's
think
the
it's right.
goal.
Yeah, I don't think that's right, especially if if the person is a good person.
Right. All right, hold on. I'm gonna put the link into the comment section for any of you guys that want to join the conversation that has anything more that you want to add to it. Would love to hear from you guys and hear your opinions and your experiences about cancel culture, or what you thought about it. Or, were there any actors or actresses or any celebrities that you feel wrongfully were canceled? And I would definitely would love to hear from it. So I added the link in StreamYard and on the Facebook group also, so you guys can definitely chime in.
What,
I'd love to hear from you guys.
let me ask you a question about that.
Shoot.
What do you like when there's a case that deals with this, and the actors or actresses settle? Do you think that they should settle? I mean, they shouldn't settle because it makes them seem like they're guilty of what they're being accused of.
I think ultimately, that's if I mean you can assume, right? You can make whatever you want of it. But I personally, if I'm suing somebody because I feel I was wronged, I don't think that there's a dollar amount that should be able to allow me to walk away from that without getting justice, right?
Yeah,
But then again, someone offers you like a ridiculous amount of money, you might consider it. You know what? Maybe it wasn't that bad. I'll take it. Sign the check and I'm out.
yeah.
Because a lot of those settlements come with NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and you agree not to bring this up anymore, and that's usually how it ends up being. Because the person never gets convicted of that crime, the person never pleads a thing of guilty, and that's usually what a settlement consists of. So,
Yeah,
I mean, as far as cancel culture is concerned, I mean, if your argument is valid and you feel strongly about it, there shouldn't be a dollar amount that
I
strays
think you
you
should
from
fight the
that.
good fight.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
agree. I
absolutely.
agree.
Yeah, just like get at me say, up they settle so that the specifics don't get out, and they can afford it. They can afford it. It doesn't hurt them. They take the settlement as an investment in their future.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can think of anyone else who was canceled. I mean, there were some people who were rightfully canceled. Like, who was that
The guy
producer?
from are you're not talking about the guy from House of Cards, right?
No, not him. Weinstein, I
Okay.
think it is.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. They canceled him, rightfully so, man.
He
That's
deserved what he got,
yeah.
though.
That was shameful what he was doing, and to be doing it for years. I mean, and that's what Hollywood was at that time, right? It was taking advantage of people because you knew that they wanted to get to a certain level and they had to get by you, right? So that's taking advantage of your power.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's
And and it
that's kind of
still
messed up.
happens in today's society.
Yeah, and I'm
Do
gonna see if I
something
can
for
pull
me.
up.
You do something for me. I do something for you. That's what.
Right. All right, so the actor that was canceled in Flash, his name is Hartley Sawyer. He played the Elastic Man, or something like that, on the Flash. And he was an up and coming actor at the time. He was struggling. So he was saying, like, I get it. Like, when you're trying to get famous, you've heard the old expression, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
Yes.
At one point that was true, so people used to run with that. So they would say the most outlandish things that would get their name, going in people's in mouths and talking, because as long as someone's talking about you is good, right? Because
They pulled the
people who didn't
Kanye
know you
West.
before. I don't know what that is. What happened? What's a Kanye West?
When he says rational things on TV to get his name out there, to make his name stay relevant.
I just think he's legit off his rocker, bro.
Think so?
Legit, legit. Yeah, but like this guy, what's his name again? I'll pull it up right
You know what
here.
they say? Women like crazy guys.
I guess so. He's got a woman that I'm not too fond of myself, so
But he's very creative in his art, though.
right. Someone said, yeah, like Bill Cosby, he deserves pain for what he did. I mean, a lot of people say that, I don't know if there was. I personally don't know all the story, but I hear a lot of people saying that a lot of that was BS. that they were just attacking him because he was successful and they were looking for a paycheck.
I think there's some conspiracy theories that have to deal with that case also. You know, as far as the powers that be that control Hollywood.
Right.
Kind of like with Michael Jackson, they were saying that Michael Jackson was being accused with of with the kids and whatnot because like he was, I guess, against the Illuminati or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I feel about that.
Kanye is just legit. I mean, I don't know, man. I can't take him at face value. Uh,
He's a walking contradiction. That's what he is. Because he speaks against Trump, and then next thing you know, he supports him.
or vice
Me
versa. Yeah.
personally, I can't. Me personally, I can't support somebody that does something like that. You either A and you stay A and not switch to B when it's convenient for you.
All right. I guess as far as convenience is concerned. So Get At Me says he forgot the particulars, but he remembers one of the main cast members of Grey's Anatomy made an inappropriate comment and was removed, canceled quickly. Is that the one you were talking about from House of Cards? Oh no, it's Grey's Anatomy. Used to do shows.
Grey's Anatomy is a different show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Someone says, "Do you think being racist is enough to get kicked off a show or movie?" Of course, racism is always wrong, but do you think bad opinions are enough to be canceled? I mean, racism is a form of hate, so obviously you don't
Yeah, I
want
think
somebody.
I would say yes.
Yeah, I would 100 agree. I would 100% agree that when it comes to racism, absolutely, because there's a component of hate in there. And if you have a diverse cast, how can you have this person who's racist on your show knowing that he's going to feel unfavorably towards cast members that he's racist against? So I would absolutely agree 100% that if someone
Yes,
is racist and you know this to be a fact and it's been proven, then
it
bye.
creates a hostile environment.
Absolutely. So it's kind of, it's one of those situations. So where is this? Lost my place here.
You check in the comments.
No, it's not the comments. One of the points I wanted to make in reference to this, because cancel culture to me is a relatively new concept, a new idea, and like I said, I think there's a valid reason for cancel. I think there's a component where you can use this platform to expose people, right? But people who really deserve to be exposed. But then there's an element of cancel culture where they can use it to push a political agenda. Let's say I didn't like using a position of power, right? And I wanted to remove you from that position of power. The easiest way for me to do that is to go into your history and find the smallest little thing that I can use to just bring a
Discredit
negative
you.
light. Absolutely, absolutely
Yeah.
discredit, not just discredit you, but show that you're not such a great person, and then in doing so, literally take everything away from you, everything.
I think the more popular you become, the more of a target you also become.
Yeah. And my thing is that we all make mistakes, man. We all make mistakes. So for someone to be like, oh, he said this like in the 1800s, it's like, how did that even apply to today? Because what was acceptable back then may not be acceptable today. But the fact of the matter is that you said it back then when it wasn't a big issue. So why would you bring that up today? Because you have an ulterior motive, you have a hidden agenda. It's not, there's no way you can be offended by something I said a long time ago when it wasn't targeted towards you, directed at you, and had nothing to do with you. So how can you go back to something I said a decade ago and say that that was offensive and I'm a bad person because of it? What if because of that I am the person that I am now because I learned from those mistakes? So to shine light on something I did that wasn't popular, a popular opinion that isn't a popular opinion today, but was back then, I don't think that's fair. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. Those are more my 2 cents on the subject.
Would you consider like the news about Michael Jordan's gambling addiction? Would that be? Would you consider that cancel culture also?
I think it
How
was it might have been an attempt.
he was so good at his craft that they're like, oh, well, like if you saw Michael Jordan's Last Dance on Netflix, they talk about how people were just trying to look for some dirt on him because he was too good of an athlete, and they just wanted to basically discredit him.
Oh yeah, this
That,
is this
oh,
is really good.
he's not an angel. He has a gambling addiction, and that was the cause of his father's death, which, uh, a lot of people who were around Michael Jordan, they said that's not the case.
Right. People brought up some really good points about Roseanne being canceled for something she said. What was it that she said? Does anybody know exactly why Roseanne was
Forgot.
targeted? Because I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I know that she was a Trump supporter, but I don't think that's enough to cancel somebody. She must have said something that was somewhat derogatory
I
or
believe she
offensive.
made a comment, and that's what caused the her show to be canceled. Because the what is it, NBC? Where did they have her show on? They didn't want to be affiliated with her because of that. But I think, some of these companies just do it because they don't want the bad publicity. They don't want what one person's opinion of something. They don't want to be affiliated with it. You know,
Right.
even if they 100% agree with what the person said.
Hmm. See, I have a problem with this right here. See, Jimmy Fallon was almost canceled, according to Mommy Flo, because they found an old skit of him playing Chris Rock and he wore blackface. That was a piece of comedy being performed, which he was a good friend of Chris Rock. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that he ran. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that these are the details or these are the facts, but I'm pretty sure that he ran the skit by Chris Rock to get his approval of it. Might have gotten it. But when it comes to comedy, it's not. I honestly believe. I mean, it's called comedy for a reason, right? It's to make you laugh. That's the main objective, right?
It
So,
depends on the person on the other end receiving it, because some people, may get offended based on
but
like
that's
what.
that's exactly my point, though, right? If I'm making something that I think it's funny, right? Obviously, it's not for you. If you don't think it's funny, then you're not my demographic. You're not the audience that I'm trying to target.
Yeah,
That's my thing with it. Is like, if you feel a certain way, right? If I create a piece of content, with the best intentions, right? And you find fault somewhere in that content that I create, like, how should I be responsible for that if my end game is to, help and to promote positivity,
yeah.
you know?
Well, art in general is subjective. Like, you for example, if you draw a picture, if an artist draws a picture, it shows his emotions in his work, right? But the
Mhm.
person receiving the art could see something else within the art that may not even be there. So, it 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 it's one of those things that you create the content, and there's a specific audience that you want to reach with that content, but you're not
Mhm.
going to reach everybody. Some people are going to take it out of context for
Right.
what it is. It's supposed to be humor. It's supposed to be funny. Um, you know, believe it or not, a lot of people laugh at racist jokes,
So, yeah, but
but it's
is it
not meant
because
to
it's
offend anybody.
right? Kyle says, comedy and blackface are two different things. I'm gonna I'm gonna agree to disagree because the blackface was done as a comic skit on Saturday Night Live when referring to Jimmy Fallon. But however, I do see where the blackface thing could be, it, it's it's not it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. So I would love to hear more from Kyle if he's available on the whole,
Do you
like
think
when it
that?
comes to comedy and blackface.
Do you
I
think
mean,
that
obviously
if
that shit won't fly today.
would do you think if Jimmy Fallon was a black man, that it would have been received differently?
I don't know how a black man could do blackface. So I don't know what
Right.
you mean.
No, like, as far as the comedy goes.
All right, well then you have White Chicks, right?
Yeah.
In the movie White Chicks,
Yeah.
it was two black men dressed as white girls.
Yeah.
Like, is that offensive or is that comedy?
Well, to me, it was comedy. It was funny.
So like, I guess
But
like
I could see how a white person could get offended by it too.
I don't know. I just think if something's done with the best of intentions, I mean, should you be like attacked for it? Like if you had the best of intentions, right? Maybe after the fact, if they tell you, you know what, that was probably not the most tasteful piece of content I've seen, and I have no problem retracting something if it offends somebody, because at the end of the day, that's not what I want to do. And if I did offend somebody at some point, I want to be able to apologize and take that person, and let that person know that,
Yeah, it
I,
wasn't your
I'm
intent.
exactly, I thought that was a brilliant piece of comedy. I thought it would have been funny, but if it offends you, I have no problem, removing the content. But it restricts you from being creative. And I have someone who's going to join the conversation right now. Welcome, Thomas. Always a pleasure.
What's going on? What's going on? Mic check.
Mike, check. You are a go.
Cool, cool. So I jumped in. How you doing today, guys? How you doing? First off,
Fantastic in yourself, man. Always a pleasure to hear
cool,
from you.
cool, cool. Good. I jumped in just to give my opinion on the blackface. So, um, this isn't study. This is just my recollection.
Mm,
Initially, blackface was because they didn't allow blacks to be in film or theater. So whites used blackface because a black character was needed. Then eventually, as time changed, and they did let people of color act, they made them act dumb or sound unintelligent. And those were the only parts that blacks could get. And they would like take them back to the olden days of, the slavery days where they lacked the education. So they used to talk
mm.
really, that old Southern drawl and sound really, uh, uneducated. So as we progress to the future, anytime blackface is referenced, it's kind of an undertone of the slavery days where either we weren't good enough to be in films, or it's like if once they did, we had to dumb down. A lot of the first actors and actresses were educated, and they took pride in that opportunity, but they couldn't show off their talents because they had to act like uneducated Negroes of back in the days. So that is why I believe in modern day times you don't get the comedy pass for blackface like all the other subjects within comedy, if
You
that
said
makes
they
sense to
don't or
you.
they do?
They don't. You do not. A white person does not get the comedic pass for doing blackface in modern day America. Now, I
All right.
don't think that the person you mentioned should have been canceled. That was an old skit before everything was so sensitive. And I don't
Right.
think that when it came out, people frowned on it. I don't think that people found it offensive back then. But like you said, due to cancel culture and Me Too movements and all those things, they try to find the littlest thing to, if they can get traction, a lot of things are clickbait as well. But if they can get traction to cancel someone, I feel they do it.
Right. Right.
I'm sorry, I missed the entire
No,
conversation
no, that's
because
right. Yeah,
I was
he gave a brief history on blackface and how it was accepted at one point in Hollywood, how um it was accepted, and that's the way that they would represent black people, because black people weren't hired as actors back then. It was just not an acceptable form of employment because of due to segregation and all that kind of stuff. So he's you want to fill in the rest, Thomas?
As long as you can hear me clearly, I don't mind. I'll shorten
Yeah,
it.
I can hear you.
Um,
Sure.
I was just saying, for the listeners, I don't want to, go too long. Initially, back in the day, they didn't allow blacks to be in acting or theater, so whites did blackface to portray black characters. And then when they did start to allow blacks in theater or film, it was all the dumbed down servant, yes a boss, yes a master type roles, and they still made them wear that makeup that looked like white folks in blackface. So as you fast forward to modern day culture and you do blackface, it's almost like a jab at the slavery days, a jab at the racial undertones and acting and drama that blacks were segregated from.
Really,
That's just
really
my
appreciate
opinion.
that.
Again,
No,
I didn't look it
I
up, but
love it.
that's just things I learned over.
I love it, and that's exactly what this platform is about, man. It's like I don't know everything. I just give you my opinion and my experience, and that's what this is what you're doing. And there's people in the comment section who really appreciate it as well. Hold on one second. Motivation says, "Wow, great information. We learn something new every day. Thank you for that information." Maria also said the same thing. Oh, damn, I did not know that. Thanks for the education on that. And Cal also states, blackface was used to exaggerate African American vernacular and show them in buffoonish behavior and was to mock black people.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
basically touched on what you were saying. And it's a lot, man. It's definitely a lot.
yeah. That's why I jumped on because that was a lot to type in. I
No,
was
no,
the if
exactly.
you
I
didn't
love it.
pick up, yeah, I
We
was the
just
get
want to
at
hear
me
your voice,
seven.
man.
Yeah. Nah, I'm always here to show my brother some support, so I get in the comments and stuff. But I was like,
No, but
that
sometimes the
one,
comments is not enough, bro.
yeah,
Sometimes you got to get in here and let us know how you really feel, man.
We're trying to interact.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Definitely, but to my, great for people to, some people that are unaware might say, hey, what's the big fuss about blackface? Or,
right.
they may not know that it's offensive to some people, but Kyle put it, perfectly. Like it's kind
Put
of,
it
it
back
was
up
like
here.
demeaning.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Definitely. It's like in modern day, if you go on and make fun of like an Asian person's um accent, you know, they suffer some of the same things.
right.
White actors would go in and they would chink their eyes and they would talk really funny in early film that displayed what was supposed to be Asian characters. I mean, I believe
Right.
Dave Chappelle even touched on it a little bit too. He touched on all of them, but it's like you overemphasizing on the culture where you're making fun of them.
Yep. Mr. Yunioshi. This is one of the famous black characters that was played by a white male. Who's damn, I can't remember the. Let me see if I can show you guys real quick. No, I'm not gonna even bother showing it, but yeah, that was another thing that early on they were doing. White people playing Asian characters with the exaggerated features, the big teeth and the chinky eyes, and it was usually in unfavorable fashion. So yeah, I get it, and I thank you guys for sharing that, man. Because like the way I was seeing it was like if the content was intended to be positive, could you still be offended by it? And should I be concerned with whether or not you're offended? And I definitely I get it, I get it. But I think I still struggle with the idea that if if you're doing it, how about if I do it right and I didn't mean it to be negative? Yeah, there's no way around it. There's no way around it.
There really isn't, because you're gonna offend somebody one way or another.
Yeah, so how do you produce content? Like you constantly got to be walking on pins and needles and
The safest content. That's why most comedians like Kevin Hart, he talks about himself and his family. Then it's
right,
like, I'm not gonna feel guilty about talking about my own family. If you're offended, then it's like, oh well, that's on you because I'm talking about my family. You
right.
know, I think comedians are the only ones that really get the pass
They
to
should
touch
exactly.
on those tough subjects. But it seems like now, you know, it's a thin line for them as well.
No, absolutely. Yep, comedians are getting it big time. Big. They're the easiest target because um yeah what do you call it? Like I guess Robert Downey Jr. Like Kyle says, he did it in a non-offensive way. But could somebody have still been offended by what Robert Downey Jr. did? Like in
I'm not
Tropic
familiar
Thunder.
with that. What did he do?
Tropic Thunder. He played a black guy in Tropic Thunder. Well, he played a
I'm
white
sure
guy.
it's possible,
Anyway.
man. Just think about, like, being at work, or just being out in the public, and somebody just looks at you for what you say. Somebody's gonna get offended one way or another. There's no way around that. Some people are more. I don't want to say sensitive to, because, like, we all, depending on what a person says, we all feel it a different way. I think that's a better way of saying it. We feel what other people say in a different manner, and we receive it differently.
Right. Ashley here says, there are a lot of traumas and residual racism that has been passed down. Healing won't happen until there's a formal apology and recognition that slavery was wrong and reparations paid. It's not funny until it's resolved, I think. That's an interesting perspective on it. I'll put it back up there for a minute in case anyone wants to read it. So healing won't happen until there's a formal apology and recognition that slavery was wrong. I don't think that anybody disagrees with the fact that slavery was wrong. And obviously only a racist would think that, it wasn't wrong, right? But there was a time where, legally it was okay. That was just the way of life. There was segregation. There were laws that didn't allow black people to do certain things. That was a way of life back then. I mean, was it racist? Absolutely. It doesn't change that. But I mean, leading from back then to today, I mean, like, what do you think would be justified, or what would you think would be considered reparations paid? Like, what would you think would? I want to hear from Gillette also. What do you think? How can you close that gap? How can you justify that? Like, what would be? Is there like a monetary number that would say, all right, this is enough? Now we're even.
Well, I couldn't even begin to give a number, but I'm sure someone has, um, and I'm sure someone has taken the time to look at what wages were back in the days,
Mm-hmm.
and inflation, and hours put in, and manpower, and deem something, you know. But I'm not even gonna pretend to have a number, to know a number, to know what's enough, what's too little, what's too much. I wouldn't know. I don't even feel qualified to guess a number, but something definitely needs to be done. I think it kind of is going off topic. I agree a lot with what Ashley said, but uh, if we're talking about comedy and where the line is drawn, I think that's separate, because you know if a certain culture, you know, what's his name, Russell Peters, and his culture, he made fun of his culture. It wasn't deemed offensive, you know, using the dialect and their accent. But if someone
Right.
that wasn't his culture did it, then you're offended. So when is it okay to do it? If it's your culture, but then if you were really talented, Russell Peters again, he can mimic several different cultures and their accent, and he's never been considered racist. If you make fun of multiple major cultural groups, is it still offensive, or is it only offensive when you make your whole routine on a culture that's not yours?
That's interesting. That's definitely interesting. And I think that's what cancel culture is about. It's about, people, are they actually being offended, or are they using it as a platform to push an ulterior motive or a political agenda or something like that? All right. Cal says reinvestment to the black community, providing housing allowances toward home ownership and tax credits are a start. Free college tuition. I think that a lot of those things are being put into play. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that Jussie Smollett was rightfully canceled because of the situation that he was in?
Um, well, was there ever like a full? It didn't go to court, did it? Was it ever? It was investigated, but didn't go to court. So it's up in the air if it was legit or not. I think the last thing, it kind of got a little bit like real life became TV-ish. Like it became a sitcom itself in itself.
Right.
My last recollection was that he paid two brothers to rob him, and you know these people that trained him or worked with him.
Right.
So if you are taking advantage of this sensitive culture
Mhm.
of racial tension, and as a result, and we find out you're lying, and as a result, you get uh, canceled, by all means, by all
All right.
means.
You deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
I
right.
don't
That's
feel
right.
sorry if you do. Yeah, if you get canceled, I don't feel bad for you. You're taking
Mhm.
You
advantage.
canceled yourself.
That's one of the first
In that
storybook lessons you
situation.
learn. Crying wolf. The importance of why it's important not to lie, to tell the truth. You know, the cry
Right.
wolf is what a childhood story. One of your first lessons on the importance of being honest and telling the truth. And he did a grown man cry wolf. And if you're canceled from a privileged position, right? It's a privilege. A lot of people can act. A lot of people have talent. So why should you still be given you holding up a spot for someone that may have more integrity, that may appreciate that position more? You
Right.
know, you don't deserve to be condemned, but a level of consequence is definitely needed.
Right. Curtis piggybacks right on that. He says, "I mean, you should always do the right thing and keep your personal opinions out of businesses. And if people cancel you off of a lie, it will come back." And what else he says? Been grinding for 20 years and blessed multiple business, happy clients. Buy a show. All right. Yeah, the truth will set you free. Someone says here also motivation. The truth will set you free. So I guess I guess at the end of the day, cancel culture can be productive if used, in I guess in the right situation and not abused. But I think there's too much room for error. I think there's too much ability for people to abuse it, to push an
So
ulterior motive.
so when I don't think you should cancel. Cancel culture, like cancel is final. So in Jussie Smollett's case, this off the air tactics, whatever, you brought a negative light to our show, a successful show. You brought negative light that could affect several people's careers. So I would say as a result, you get removed from that show, not canceled your entire acting career. Not this one. This incident shouldn't mean that you never get another acting opportunity. You never get a starring role if you deserve it, if your talent means it, but some type of consequence. And if the consequence means you're taken off of your current show as a result of your current actions, a lot of people in other jobs, you do something off, away from the job, and it gets back to the job. They fire you because you're representing them.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, so
So should
I think that's
Takashi
different
six
from
nine get a
cancel
chance?
culture.
I'm sorry.
Yes, yes,
I
he
said
should.
so.
Yeah, yes, he
Should
should.
Takashi 6ix9ine get a second chance?
Yes, he should. Why shouldn't he?
What
I
did he
got.
do?
I'm gonna be a black male, unpopular opinion, but he's never was a gangster. And guess what? If you are a gangster, what we learned growing up, our examples of gangsters are the mafia movies, and the toughest guys still ratted. So why are we going to hold this pretend guy to such a high standard that real life mobsters didn't even live up to? I understand the street code and snitching and all of that, but guess what? We not all living a street code life. The only people that can stay mad at him is the people still living in the streets. The most of us are, quote unquote, law abiding citizens enjoying getting information of the street life, either a peek through the window of the street life, and then we enjoy it as entertainment.
Yeah, Rick. I
That's
don't know
just
if
that's
you.
just my opinion.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Takashi came out with an album, and Apple didn't even have it on their platform.
That's
He was,
irrelevant. It's
he was
irrelevant.
talking about.
You don't need one platform to push your thing. Like, when it comes to music and content, like there's so many avenues for you to make
Well,
money. So
he feels that he was wrong because of it, because of the past, the things that were going on in his life with the with the gangs and stuff. How they call him a rat.
well, it's not
Well,
because
but
he was a
Apple
rat,
has
it
a
was
right
because
to
of
do that.
lifestyle. Right.
Right, Apple has a right to do that. We don't want you're
To be
you're
represented by
off,
someone like that.
you're away from music antics is not something we want to promote. You're away from music antics is not something we want to be a part of. Now, is it a contradictory? Yes, I'm sure there's several artists promoting gang violence and all those different subjects. But I don't feel sorry for him because Apple didn't play it. But I don't think that he doesn't deserve to put out music because
Mhm.
we are the consumers. We decide if we want to hear it or not. You can put out a new song every day, doesn't mean you're going to do well musically. If he still
Right.
has a fan base, he will do well. So
Absolutely.
he, you cannot cancel him from doing music. You can stop supporting it.
Yep. You can
And
stop
some
sponsoring
people like that.
everything.
Yeah, some people like that. That shock value that he brings.
Mhm.
And not for nothing, like I'm not really into his music, but I've listened to it prior to the court stuff, and it wasn't bad for
Yeah.
coming out at the time. You
Even
know,
he
it
admitted that the music was bad, but people just
mhm.
rode the wave.
He said I'm not about it. I just do it for fun. People love it, and
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll come check you, man. I'm sorry, my son's going to bed. Good night, son. Um, I just feel like, certain people are drawn towards that energy. Energy is contagious, and he gives off that energy, and then he keeps that energy going with his boastful, you know,
With his antics.
attention. Yeah, his attention seeking antics. So him, like realistically, back to my original thing, does he deserve to be canceled for snitching? Are you canceled for music for snitching on people that were taking your money and were going to take your life? And it's wrong because what? I'm wrong for snitching because I was pretending to be a gangster. You all knew I wasn't a gangster. Yeah, but that's taking in a whole nother subject. Your original
Right.
question, I don't think he should be canceled. I still think everyone deserves a second chance, especially something like that.
Right, but this is what cancel culture does, though. If you're being sponsored by a lot of these big name brand companies, what's happening is that they're gonna try to paint you in the worst light possible. And now, since you're a representative of these different sponsorships, they can take advantage and try to really, really, take away your livelihood, your ability to provide your family, your businesses, simply because a lot of these big companies, these big businesses, they don't want to be associated with any negative aspect that now you represent, according to these, social media outlets, the ones who are putting your name in a bad light, the ones who are digging up your past and putting the high beams on it. So I think that's where it's a problem. And I think that's why you should also start worrying about being more self-sufficient, not relying on these big companies to push your thing. I want to touch on some of these comments over here because we're missing out on some good stuff over here. Let's see. Kyle says Nate Parker was an amazing actor who was canceled over an allegation that happened over 10 years prior to his success. He was acquitted but still canceled, and that's messed up. That's absolutely 100% horrible. This is something that worse. Not just that it didn't. It's not just that it happened a long time ago. He was
It
acquitted.
didn't happen. Yeah.
Exactly, and you still have that negative, that
That
stigma
negative
attached
light.
to you. And when people see you, even though you were acquitted of it, they associate you with that negative, attention, and it costs you big. Oh, as a matter of fact, Gillette, you touched on this also from Will Smith. He effectively had one of his castmates canceled because of something he said.
Right,
You
right. He
want to touch
said he
on
told her. He told her. he made a comment to the media that she was difficult to work with, and back at that time, it was very hard for black women to get major roles in TV and movies, especially dark skinned women. And so that was like uh, career suicide uh, when he put that out there.
So yeah, Will Smith got his castmate canceled, man.
Yeah.
Unintentional,
Uh,
not intentionally, but
Dark skinned Aunt Viv.
right. And she was
Yeah.
recast by the lighter skin Aunt Viv, and that was basically her last acting job, essentially. No one wanted to work with her. She was not able to do anything else with her life. I think Will Smith should write her a nice fat check.
Yeah. But um, something that bothers me is that the masses are so concerned with canceling the cancel culture pertaining to the entertainment business when there are people in positions that are more important, that they're supposed to be working for us, working for the people. More, I'm talking more political. And these people are not held to a standard, and they're very rarely canceled. Their stuff is just swept under the rug. We don't get involved with and I'm not the political guy, but it's just a thought. We don't get involved with voting some of these people out because you know what? Politics doesn't interest us. It's not
Right.
entertaining. It's not fun. But we'll invest all this energy talking about Takashi 69. Guess what? You wasn't even listening to his music until you heard about all of this hoopla. I didn't give his music a try until I heard, oh, well, what? What's making this? Where's he getting this money from? I didn't hear his songs. Let me check it out. Oh, it's not bad. It's not another listen from me, but it's not bad. You know,
Right.
um, I think that if people want to gravitate towards the cancel culture, it should be in a productive way where we get people in important positions that will affect our communities in these high ranked positions, different political positions.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, should you be permanently responsible for something that you may have not done, I may have done in the past that was not, maybe at that time it was okay because of the social landscape, they allowed for that to happen and that was okay. But time passes and the social landscape is a dynamic that's constantly changing, right? So with that in mind, should we even be able to say anything at all? Because at some point, there's going to be a time and place where society is not going to be okay with that type of language, that type of content, that type of media. So what? Are we supposed to be constantly worried about, what's going to happen in the future? Like, should I be concerned that this conversation, which is okay now, later on, taken out of context and in a different, you know,
So
situation, is going to affect me?
I don't know.
It's
It
like,
is scary to think about, though. It's scary to think about
yeah,
because as a young teen, we touched on the AO jokes. So as a young teen, there were a lot of gay jokes amongst guys. So if you're
right,
talking with your guys and you say something that can be misconstrued as sexual to another guy, you get the "Hey yo," or they say pause, right? So
right,
back then, you didn't find you didn't feel you were offending the gay community because you weren't addressing the gay community. You were addressing your
right.
boy standing next to you. But if you put that verbiage out like in the internet or on a tweet or on a Facebook post where it
Game
can be
over.
pulled up later, you are judged as a gay basher,
A homophobe.
and people don't
Homophobic.
and people don't care to
Look into the
you know
context.
consider the context of why it was said. So that's the scary part.
Yeah.
You at the time in which you're comfortable speaking because you know your heart, you know your intentions. You don't know if 10,
Relevant.
15 years down the line that the culture will change in which, oh, you can feel that way, but you can't say it out loud.
Right. I guess I mean, it's a little bit off topic, but it can be applied. Let's say, if you go to jail for something that's illegal today that got you 20 years in prison, but 10 years down the line, that act is no longer illegal. Should you still be carrying out that prison sentence?
Well, that's what's happening now with the marijuana, the changes in the law pertaining to marijuana.
So, so what's going to happen now? All those people are going to get let out. I mean, I think that would be the right thing to do, right? Since it's no longer. I mean, if the thing is going across the whole playing field, like if you're going to do that with cancel culture, it should be applied to everything across the spectrum. That's what I think, right? Wouldn't
I
that
So
think that
let
would
me
be
let me
fair.
ask you something. If a law was in place, say marijuana was illegal, and as a result you get prison time, and then
right?
while serving your sentence, the law changes.
It should also reflect my prison sentence, also, and it should be retroactive. I want to get paid for the time I spent in
No,
jail.
it should just say it should. I wouldn't say that because it still was a law then. I would
Right,
say
right,
the moment the law changed, time served, released immediately.
Yeah.
right.
Because yesterday it was still a law. The law changes today. Yesterday that was still the law. Yesterday you're still serving a sentence for a law you broke, a crime you committed back then. Today it
So I guess
passes,
I
time
100% agree.
served.
right. So I guess the difference is like I guess we're talking about law versus someone's feelings, right? Versus someone's opinions versus what society deemed normal and not normal.
I think it's a painful thing for people that are currently or have and made it home now, and they're like their lives have been ruined because work opportunities are non-existent because of them serving time. Now it's going to be legal, but guess what? They still suffered. Their family still suffered for lack of opportunity because you had a prison record. I think it
Yeah.
hurts those folks more so that are back out in the free world and lacked uh, opportunity
You touched on a
versus
really,
those
really
in
good point
jail.
there.
So should
I like
the
what you
charge
just
be
said.
expunged also? Do you think?
Yes, definitely. That should be removed from all of that should be removed from their record. Can't be found if that's all it is. If it's just that and that law changes, removed, expunged, sealed, whatever.
That's fair
Didn't
enough. Yeah.
happen.
Agree.
Yeah. So cancel culture also applies to people who are locked up. Now they have this stigma, this reputation as being a inmate or someone who was locked up. So you think it's fair that you go to jail and the idea is to be um what's the
Reform.
word exactly, the idea is that you're reformed, you're a new person, and you're released because you successfully satisfied your punishment. So should that be held against you?
Let's
I
save
guess
that
it
for
wasn't
another
a violent
podcast.
crime. No, yeah, it still has to do with cancel culture. That's why it's like they're getting canceled too because of that. They're carrying that on them.
Well, it's two sides to that. So if you're a business owner, you've worked hard to start as an entrepreneur to grow your business, and you're in a position to hire people to to help your business succeed and continue to grow. You want the best of the best. Hiring, you want the best. You want like-minded people. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you're paying taxes and you build yourself up from the ground up, you're not going to be excited about hiring felons,
It's all about
regardless.
representation.
Like if once it's on your record, it's like, okay, you don't want to be judged the entire time about it, but it works both ways. When felons have been given chances, or felons have lied about their previous incarcerations, and then as a result commit a more heinous crime on the job, then it said, well, how did no one know anything about this?
Right.
So it's it's scary. Like, you know, when you're feeling good and you're feeling like you want to do good for people, it's like give people a chance. But if all you gotta do is talk to a victim and then say, I wish they would have did a better job of doing a background check.
Yeah, I can see
So
that for sure, man.
so um I think certain crimes do carry somewhat of a cancel culture. Like the crime, well, obviously, if you went to jail for selling weed, I'm not going to think that you're a bad employee. But if you went to jail for stabbing your girlfriend, or you, I don't think I want you on the job, and you're gonna have an argument with a coworker. Like, you know, it's hard to, you don't know who's reformed. Time served doesn't mean reform.
Right. That's so true. This Facebook user, I think it's correct. He says, I would hire a felon. I don't judge people on their decisions yesterday, their skills and actions today. It is very hard to find great employees, and some of my greatest employees, some of my greatest have been exported, imported, deported, extorted, bailed, bonded, etc.
I
I
mean,
wish like
I
yeah,
think that's dope. I think that's dope. I also think, you know, certain. I think it depends on the business. It
right,
depends on the job. You know, my example is more like it's my business. Me
right,
as an entrepreneur, and it's my business. I don't think I'm just being honest. I don't think I would be comfortable. Now, in certain fields, why not? Why not? Certain fields, I just don't know. We shouldn't judge, but just be honest. If you if you do a background check on somebody about to hire and you found out 10 years for murder, is that gonna impact your decision?
right.
Prior to them going to jail, they got a master's degree in whatever. But the last
Definitely.
10 years they were served, is that gonna impact your decision? Are they canceled? No, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult to hire them sincerely, like to want to hire them.
Yeah, I definitely get it, man. We are coming to the end of our segment today, man. I want to thank you guys who showed up. I appreciate you guys. Gillette, you rock. Yeah, your insight was insightful.
It worked. It was.
I like, yeah, yeah. And I love the fact that I can come on this show and learn something new and just continue to grow as an individual and just learn from different people's experiences and perspectives, and I absolutely love it. I love being able to do this, man. You guys absolutely rock, man. And for those of you who are aware of the Instagram giveaway, I'm going to be doing that tomorrow on tomorrow's show, so make sure you guys are here. I'm going to be selecting someone and giving away $50. It'll be your choice whether you want it through Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, Amazon gift card. It is yours. And I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel and supporting this movement. This thing, as I always say, it does not work without you guys, man. This is a platform for us to have conversations. With that said, man, I want to wish you guys a fantastic evening. I love you guys. And for my wife who may be listening, again, happy birthday to you, babe. Hope you had a fantastic, fantastic birthday. All right.
Hey,
So you
happy
guys,
birthday, Miss Fernandez.
Happy
yeah, man.
birthday.
All right, you guys stick around after the show, all right? So everyone else, take care. Have a good night. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I'm looking forward to giving away that $50, man. It's not a lot of money, but damn it, they can pay the taxes on a big ticket item. So take care, fellas. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Have a good night. If you guys, there's still time because I'm doing it tomorrow. If you guys want a chance at the $50, go to my Instagram page, tag someone, and I will enlist you in the Wheel of Fortune, and we will spin that wheel live and see who wins that $50. All right. There will be no shenanigans played. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a fantastic evening.
All right, man. Later.
Later.